Hello and welcome to episode 225. Today we're going to have a go at some floor enchanting. And first things first, big thank you to Ascii. I came up with a way to do this based on some help he had given someone else. My version wasn't very good, so he helped me out a little bit with some of the things. So thank you very much for that. We're going to want some scoreboard objectives. So we'll have a setup and scoreboard objectives. Add has a player dropped a book and it'll be of type dropped enchanted book. Okay, it'll be of type Minecraft dot dropped. Oh, I see, that's the problem we've done. Such simple things, but constantly make simple mistakes. That's not a dot. That one is the colon. There we go. So if any player drops an enchanted book, they're going to get 1 added to their dropped book score. And let's have another one. Scoreboard, objectives, add, and I'm going to call this one enchanted. And this is just going to store if something has been enchanted. Done. Let's give ourselves an item that we can enchant. Give item. We will give ourselves a netherite sword. That'll do. Let's give it some extra information. We'll give it a custom tag, enchantable. It's true, it can be enchanted. Done. Now let's give ourselves some enchantment books. Give books. Well, it's going to start with give, isn't it? Give at player an enchanted book, a bocco, and what? They're the wrong way around. What enchantments do we want it? So stored enchantments. That can be a list. We're only going to have 1 on it, and let's say ID. Minecraft mending will do. I think it will need a level as well. LVE level 1S. Okay, let's check that. Yeah, that certainly seems to be mending. Cool. Let's control middle mouse, copy that whole block. Put another one down. Always active chain. And let's just change that to something else. Unbreaking will do. So now we'll get a mending and an unbreaking book. Okay, let's make the controller. This first command is going to be quite long. Here is our controller. Right, first thing, we will execute at all players, but they must have a score. Which score? Their dropped book score must equal 1 or higher, and we will limit that to 1 player, and we will execute as any entity. Now let's narrow it down. So first of all, type equals item, so that's going to get rid of all mobs and everything like that. And let's do an MBT check. MBT, first it has to be on the ground. On the ground has to be true, and then we want to check in its item, in its tags, or tag rather, and we're going to check for that custom tag we gave it, enchantable true. Now let's go there, and we will say a limit of 1 again, limit it to 1, and it has to be within a distance of 0 to 6 blocks of the player. At S, so we're now executing at that item. We are going to store success score at S enchanted. So if the next command we do is successful, we will put 1 into the enchanted score of the item, which is the sword. The next command is going to be store success entity at S motion 1, that's the Y, double 0.25. So if the next command is successful, we're going to put a little bit of motion into the item's Y value, make it like jump up in the air just a little bit. And the next command is going to be store success entity at any entity type equals item, MBT equals, open and close that, and we will have to have a distance. Let's put a distance in there. A distance equals 0 to 0.5, and we'll have to have a limit. You'll notice we've missed a bit off at the moment. We'll put that in a minute. Limit it to 1. That makes it go the right color. Now let's fill this MBT. Inside the MBT, we are going to check item. Inside item, we're going to check ID, and it has to be a Minecraft enchanted book. And we are going to store the success of the next command into that book's age, which will be a short value, and we'll times it by 6,000, which will kill the book if the next command is successful. And the next command, where we're going to actually transfer the enchantment. Run data modify entity at S. We're going to modify its item dot tag dot enchantments, and we're going to set that from an entity, and the entity we're going to set it from is going to be of type equals item, MBT equals item, and inside the item it has to be ID Minecraft. It's a long one, this one, isn't it? Enchanted book. Why is it red? Because we don't have a limit on it yet. That's why. We can only modify one at a time. Let's give it a distance as well. Distance equals 0 to 0.5, and limit equals 1, and we should all change green. Lovely. And what are we going to copy from that? We are going to copy from it item tag stored enchantments. Ooh, okay, that's the long one. The commands will be in the description, so don't worry, you can read through them. Done. So what we're doing there is, if the items are close together and the sword is on the ground and it has a tag enchantable, it's going to get the enchanted score of 1. It's going to get a little bit of motion to pop it up in the air. It's going to kill the enchanted book, and it's going to copy the enchantment from the book to the sword. Right. Let's get some more stuff. Whew, that's a long one. We're also going to execute at any player, and we're going to do scores again. Scores equals dropped.book equals 1 or higher, and we'll limit that to 1 again. At any entity, type equals item, scores equals enchanted equals 1. We need a distance. Distance equals 0 to 6. Okay, let's close that. run particle smoke. Let's lift it up in the air a little bit, 0.2. And how big do we want it? 0.2, 0.2, 0.2 will do. Do we want a speed? No. A count? 10. Force or normal? We'll just leave that. Actually, let's just write normal. There we go. Done. Now I'm going to copy that, control middle mouse. So I've got that command in there as well. And we're just going to remove the particle command. So we're still doing the same thing. At any player who's dropped a book, at any entity that's near them with the enchanted score. This time we're going to play the sound. Play sound. Block dot amethyst. There we go, that looks right. And which one do I think break it is the one I like. Yeah, there we go. Break. And we'll play it on the master channel at all players at that location. Volume 1, pitch 1, minimum volume 0, so if they're walking away they're not going to hear it. Done. And let's just get a blank one now. Put a blank one in there. And we'll just go back in here. And we'll execute as scores, drop block, yes, at. Right, we just want this first bit. Any player who scores drop block 1. Let's copy that. Execute at any player who scores dropped book equals 1, limit equals 1, run scoreboard. Very helpful to have a space there. Run scoreboard, players, reset any entity, their enchanted score. Which entity? Well, it has to be type equals item. And their scores equals enchanted equals 1. So their enchanted score is 1 already. And they have to have a distance. Distance equals 0 to 6. We'll reset their enchanted score. Done. Let's get another block. Now we'll reset some other scores. Scoreboard. Players add. Well, first we're going to tick up the timer for the player. So if they've dropped a book, we're just going to keep adding 1 to that score. So all players whose scores equals dropped.book equals 1 or higher. So they dropped a book, that gave them a score of 1. And now if they've got a score of at least 1, we're going to keep pushing that score up. Dropped book 1, we're going to keep adding 1 to it. Done. And then when that score hits 600, scoreboard, players, reset, all players, scores equals dropped book equals 600 or higher, we'll reset their dropped book score. So that gives them 600 ticks to throw the sword and the book next to each other. Done. And then it will reset their dropped book score. Now the reason we want to do that is because otherwise a player could come along, drop the book. Now they've got a score of 1, pick the book up, they've still got a score of 1, and off they walk, and they've got a score of 1. We want to reset that. So now that will reset when these two activate. Okay, let's change this. It should be repeating. Let's clear our inventory, and if we haven't made any mistakes, we should have something that works. So let's get ourselves an item, get the 2 books, turn it on, throw the item. Clearly, we do not have something that works. Right, now, I'm going to guess that I haven't activated the setup. Is there a way to check? Well, what we can just do, we can do scoreboard, objectives, remove. We have no objectives, so I haven't pressed this button. Okay, is the fix that simple? Nice. Nice. Okay, so let's actually check that it's getting the enchantment. So we've got our sword. It's got no enchantments. Let's throw the sword on the floor. This is the mending book. Okay, let's have a check. Now it's got mending. Nice. Let's throw it on the floor. This is the unbreaking book then. Oh, and that time it jumped. Now I have found that sometimes when we're storing the success in here, sometimes it doesn't want to jump. It just doesn't like doing it. So we'll make a change in a minute. Now, one thing you can't do, if it has unbreaking, you can't give it unbreaking again. It doesn't work. Because the command is failing. It's just saying it's already got that. I'm not going to do anything. So you can only change the enchantment. That time it jumped. That time it jumped. Okay, let's see if we can get it to not jump, which is really just practicing or just continuously throwing. There we go. Didn't jump. Did jump. We can probably change that so it jumps every time. Where are we resetting its enchanted score? Here. Enchanted. Okay. Let's control middle mouse. 1, 2, 3. And we'll move them along 1, 2, 3. And we'll go back into this first command and we'll find where we're storing the motion. Here we go. Store success entity motion double. So let's just remove that from there. Let's take that out. So we're not storing the motion in there anymore, which means it's never going to jump now. Let's copy one of these blocks here. Actually, no, we'll do a new block. Here we go. And we will data modify any entity. That entity, so what is it? Type equals item. Scores equals, and we called it enchanted equals 1. We could say or higher. We will have to limit. Limit equals 1. We're going to affect its motion. Its Y motion. X is 0, Y is 1, Z is 2. And we're going to set that to a value and we'll set it to 0.25. Done. Okay, let's try. Now it should bounce every time. I mean, it should bounce every time before. I don't know why it wasn't. I don't know why it doesn't. I don't know if I'm missing something, but we're getting a bounce every time. And that satisfying little noise. One of the best noises in Minecraft, apart from picking items up. Oh, which I love. Okay, there we go. There we have a little bit of floor enchanting. Chucking an item down and then chucking a book on top of it to enchant it. Make with that what you will. I will see you next time. Take care, and thank you again to Ascii for the little bit of help he gave me, coming up with a much better system than I originally had, to be honest. See you later. Bye-bye.